Why some people suffer more, unlocking the secret of karma and awakening. Have you ever looked at someone's life and thought, why do bad things always happen to this person? They're kind, they give more than they take, they try their best, and yet, life keeps throwing stones at them, one job loss after another, relationship breakdowns, sickness, loneliness, tragedy that strikes again and again. You begin to wonder, is this just bad luck, or is there something deeper going on here? And then, a quiet question slips into the back of your mind, could it be karma? But here's the real question we're going to explore today. Is it true that people who suffer a lot are simply carrying heavy karma from the past? And if so, what does that really mean? Is it a life sentence? Is it punishment from the universe? Or could it actually be a doorway to liberation? Buddhism doesn't shy away from suffering. In fact, it begins right there. The first noble truth of the Buddha is simple, piercing, and profound. There is suffering. Not some people suffer. Not only bad people suffer, but that suffering is part of the very fabric of existence. Still, that doesn't answer the lingering question, why does it feel like some lives are filled with more darkness than others? Take a moment. Think of someone you know, maybe it's someone in your family, maybe it's you, someone who tries to live with integrity, and yet, nothing seems to go right. They lose loved ones too soon, they get betrayed, they get overlooked, they carry pain that seems unfair. Meanwhile, others float through life, laughing, partying, ignoring consequences, and yet somehow, they seem to thrive. Where is the justice? Where is the balance? Where is the compassion of the universe? It's easy to feel bitter, to think the world is cruel, to question everything. But the Buddhist view invites us to look deeper, much deeper, because life is not happening to us in isolated moments. We are not the sum of only what we can remember. There is a continuum, a flow of energy and intention, stretching across lifetimes, like an unseen river beneath our feet. And karma is not fate, it's not punishment, it's not even deserved suffering. It's more like a seed that was planted by thought, word, or action, and now, under the right conditions, it begins to sprout. But here's where things get truly beautiful. A person who suffers deeply may not be cursed. They may actually be burning off the residue of old karma, and walking a path that leads to awakening. In fact, Buddhist teachings suggest that suffering, when met with awareness, becomes sacred. It's not just pain, it's purification, it's opportunity, it's the turning of the soil, so that something new can grow. So in this journey, we'll ask, what is karma, really? Why do some people carry so much pain? Is it possible to transform heavy karma into wisdom and peace? And most importantly, how can we stop creating more suffering? Because here's the truth, you are not a prisoner of your past, you are a creator of your future. Even if you've suffered for years, even if life has been unfair, there is still a path. And as the Buddha said, just as a candle cannot burn without fire, man cannot live without a spiritual life. This is where that spiritual life begins, with understanding, with compassion, and with a willingness to see more deeply. So let us begin, not just with our minds, but with our hearts wide open. Welcome to the path of insight. Let's be honest, the word karma is everywhere these days. People throw it around like spiritual slang. He cheated on her. Karma's gonna get him. You lied to me, well, karma will come for you. I must have bad karma today, I spilled coffee on myself twice. But is that really what karma is? A kind of cosmic boomerang, a punishment system from the universe, a mystical scoreboard tracking all our mistakes? No, not quite, not even close. In its original form, karma simply means action. That's it, action, intentional action, the kind that leaves a mark on the stream of your consciousness. It's not superstition, it's not magic, it's not fate written in stone. It's cause and effect, and just like planting a seed in fertile soil, every thought, every word, every deed, carries the potential to ripen into something real. But here's the nuance most people miss, karma is not about reward and punishment, it's about consequences born from intention. If you act from greed, anger, or ignorance, you plant the seeds of future suffering. If you act from compassion, wisdom, and generosity, You cultivate the roots of future peace. It's not about a judgmental God watching over you. It's about how reality naturally unfolds when certain conditions are set in motion. Think of it this way: if you touch fire, your hand burns, not because fire is punishing you, but because that's how fire works. Likewise, if you lie, manipulate, or harm others, you might not feel the pain today, but eventually, the consequences will find their way back to you, and not as some divine revenge, but because those actions plant unrest in your own mind. They distort your relationships, they breed mistrust, and they pull you away from inner freedom. That is karma. The Buddha didn't teach karma to scare people, he taught it to empower them, to remind them, you are not a victim of destiny, you are not chained to your past, you are the creator of your own unfolding life. Yes, karma from past lives exists, yes, it influences our circumstances, but it does not define us, because right here, right now, you're planting new seeds, with your every choice. Let's pause here for a moment, take a breath, and ask yourself, what seeds am I planting today? Am I cultivating peace or conflict? Am I acting out of fear or out of love? You see, karma is not something that happens to us, it's something we participate in, moment by moment. It's the invisible thread that weaves our lives into patterns, some beautiful, some painful, all of them changeable. Now let's clarify something important. Not all suffering is the result of karma. Sometimes, people suffer because of systemic injustice, because of conditions outside their control, because the world, frankly, is imperfect. Buddhism doesn't use karma to blame people for their pain, it uses karma to help us see where we still have power, and that power lies, not in rewriting the past, but in shaping what happens next. So when someone suffers greatly, we don't say, oh well, that's just their karma. No. That's spiritual bypassing, that's cold. That's shallow. Instead, we respond with compassion. We remember, everyone carries invisible karma, we all have stories written in lifetimes we can't recall. And most of all, we honor the truth, that no karma is too heavy to be transformed. You are not stuck, you are not doomed, you are not broken. Karma is not a life sentence, it's a life lesson, and when we learn, when we awaken, when we shift the way we show up in this moment, we begin to rewire the very structure of our lives. This is not theory, this is practice, this is freedom in motion. So let's walk forward, with eyes open, and hearts ready to plant new seeds. Imagine this, you're walking through a quiet forest, the sun filters gently through the trees, everything feels still. Peaceful, but under your feet, deep below the soil, there are roots, twisted, tangled, ancient. You can't see them, you don't even know they're there, until you trip, until a tree falls, until something hidden beneath the surface makes itself known. This is what karma often looks like. We don't remember planting the seed, we don't see the root beneath our suffering, but one day, it rises, a chronic illness with no explanation, a painful divorce you never expected, a pattern of failure you can't seem to escape, and the first instinct we have is to ask, why me? What did I do to deserve this? Why does life feel so unfair? But here's where Buddhist wisdom offers a radical, and freeing, perspective. The misfortunes we face today, may have their roots not just in this life, but in many lives before it. You may not remember it, but your consciousness does, just like your body remembers how to breathe without being told. Your karmic stream remembers every cause you've ever set in motion, every lie, every betrayal, every act of greed or cruelty. Conscious or unconscious, they don't disappear, they lie dormant, until the right conditions appear, and the fruit is ready to ripen. Now, this is not a reason to feel guilty. It's a reason to feel awake, because just as pain may come from past karma, so does strength, so does love, so does your capacity to transform suffering into wisdom. Let's be clear, not all pain is punishment. Sometimes, pain is purification. Sometimes, it is the very process by which deep karma is being exhausted, burned off like old fuel. You may be carrying the weight of actions that go back generations, lifetimes, but the fact that you're aware of it now, the fact that you're listening to this, that's not a coincidence, that's a sign you're ready. In ancient Buddhist texts, there's a powerful analogy. If you drop a spoonful of salt into a small cup of water, the water becomes undrinkable, but if you drop the same spoonful of salt into a vast lake, it disappears. Your past karma is the salt, but your present awareness is the lake. The more expansive your heart, your mindfulness, your understanding, the more the bitterness of karma dissolves into something far greater. But first, we must stop blaming the world. We must stop blaming others. We must stop blaming ourselves. Because blame only makes the karma heavier. Blame traps us in a story of victimhood. And victimhood is the enemy of awakening. Instead, we begin with responsibility. Not guilt, not shame, but the deep, powerful knowing that says, I may not have created this pain in this lifetime, but I can transform it in this one. Let's take an example. A young woman is born into poverty. She loses both her parents at an early age. She's abused by people who were meant to protect her. She grows up in fear, scarcity, and abandonment. From the outside, it's easy to say, she's just unlucky. Or worse, that's just her karma. But from the Buddhist view, her soul is not being punished, her soul is being forged. Like steel and fire, she is being tempered by the weight of past actions. And if she walks this path with awareness, with compassion, with spiritual support, she can become a beacon of healing not just for herself, but for others who suffer in silence. That's the beauty hidden inside the pain. Every misfortune contains the potential for awakening, but only if we look deeply, only if we stop running, only if we stop asking why me? And start asking, what now? What can I learn from this? What part of me is ready to grow? What am I being called to see? That I've never seen before, because here's the truth. Karma is heavy only when we carry it unconsciously. When we turn toward it with understanding, it becomes light. When we face it with mindfulness, it becomes wisdom. When we meet it with compassion, it becomes the very doorway to freedom. So if your life feels difficult, if it seems like you suffer more than others, don't turn away, turn inward. You may be walking through fire, but fire, in the Buddhist tradition, doesn't only destroy, it also purifies. And the more deeply you understand your karma, the less power it has over you. Because knowledge, real, embodied wisdom, is the first step toward liberation. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to get away with bad actions? Why the cruel are sometimes rewarded, while the kind suffer in silence? It can feel deeply unfair. A dishonest boss gets richer, a kind-hearted teacher dies of cancer, a manipulative lover moves on without consequence, while you're left with the pieces. And inside your chest, the question burns, where is karma now? When will justice arrive? Why do good people suffer while the wrong ones thrive? The answer lies not in the simplicity of punishment, but in the timing of karmic ripening. You see, karma doesn't work on your schedule, it ripens when the conditions are right, just like a mango tree takes time to grow. From seed to sprout to blossom to fruit, so does karma. Some seeds ripen quickly, a lie you tell today gets exposed tomorrow, others take years, like unhealed patterns in relationships that repeat again and again, and some take lifetimes. Yes, lifetimes. There are 4 key factors that determine when karma ripens. 1. The strength of the intention. The deeper your emotion behind the action, the stronger the karmic seed. If you kill out of rage, versus accidentally stepping on an ant, the consequences are vastly different. Intensity matters. 2. The frequency. The more often you repeat an action, the more it embeds into your karmic stream. 1 lie, a seed, a lifetime of deception. A field of them, repetition is reinforcement. 3. The object of the action. In Buddhist teachings, harming someone with great virtue or spiritual development creates heavier karma than harming someone unaware. Why? Because the intended impact of your action affects not just them, but the harmony of many others they serve. 4. The conditions. Even a karmic seed from 1,000 lifetimes ago won't ripen until the soil is ready, and the soil is your current life circumstances, your environment, your relationships, your emotional readiness to face certain lessons. Now, let's make this real. A man lives a moral life, kind to strangers, devoted to his family, and suddenly, he loses everything, his job, his health, his peace. He cries out, why now? What did I do to deserve this? But what if this loss isn't punishment, but resolution? What if it's the natural surfacing of a karmic debt from long ago, finally meeting the right conditions to be burned? What if his current goodness isn't erased by this misfortune, but is, in fact, what gives him the inner strength to endure it? Because here's something karma always honors: no karma ripens outside of your ability to grow through it. That's why the Buddha said, "You will not be punished for your anger, you will be punished by your anger." He didn't mean divine punishment, he meant that the energy you create becomes your experience. But let's look at the other side. Why do harmful people sometimes seem to flourish? A dictator lives in wealth, a fraud enjoys fame, a narcissist collects admiration. It seems unjust. But remember, karma is not cancelled, only delayed. The current success may itself be the result of past good karma, like generosity in a previous life, even if it's now mixed with ignorance or greed. But what is built on delusion cannot last. That's not a threat, that's a law. So next time you feel like karma has forgotten you, pause. It hasn't, it's simply unfolding in the precise rhythm. Your soul needs to evolve. Sometimes karma ripens through loss, to teach us detachment. Sometimes it ripens through illness, to slow us down enough to see what matters. Sometimes it ripens through heartbreak, to crack us open, so something softer, wiser, can emerge. But here's the key: suffering is not the proof of your failure, it's the invitation to deeper growth, to live wisely. You must understand that, not all pain is punishment, some pain is purification, some pain is transition, and some pain is grace in disguise. So ask yourself, gently, what is life trying to teach me right now? Is this the fruit of an old seed, or the soil for something new to grow? Because when you see karma clearly, you stop being its victim, and start becoming its student, and the student is one step away from being free. If karma is real, and our suffering is the fruit of past seeds, then here's the next question: are we doomed by our past? Can karma be changed? Or are we just prisoners of it? Let me tell you now, you are not trapped. Karma is not a life sentence, it's a learning opportunity. The Buddha never taught fatalism, he taught liberation. You see, karma isn't like cement, it's more like clay. Yes, it holds the imprint of your past, but with awareness, it can be reshaped. With mindfulness, it can be transformed. With wisdom, it can be transcended. Let me tell you a true story. There was a man who had spent much of his youth as a thief. He stole not out of survival, but for thrill, for power. He hurt people, he lied often, he never reflected. But one day, in his mid-30s, he found himself sitting outside a small Buddhist temple in rural Thailand. He hadn't meant to be there. He was just hiding from the police. Inside, the monks were chanting. One phrase caught his ear: hatred never ends through hatred, hatred only ends through love. This is an eternal law. Something cracked open in him. He stayed. He listened. Days became weeks, and slowly, he began to change. He turned himself in, accepted responsibility, but served his time with a different heart. Today, that man is a meditation teacher, working with young people in prisons, the very place he once hated. What happened? He didn't escape his karma, he faced it, he transformed it. Here's a powerful truth: karma is not about what happens to you, it's about how you respond. Let me repeat that: karma is not just your past, it's your present response. This is the golden key, because every single moment, you are planting new seeds. Even in the middle of pain, you are choosing your reaction. Even in the depth of despair, you have the chance to shift. Here are 3 practical ways to transform heavy karma, right now, right here. 1. Practice radical mindfulness. Instead of reacting, observe. Instead of blaming, breathe. When suffering arises, don't just ask why me. Ask, what is this moment asking me to learn? What reaction will create more peace, not more pain? Mindfulness turns karma into wisdom. 2. Make amends with your heart. Maybe you can't undo what you did, but you can purify it through intention and compassion. If you've harmed someone, send them love, even from afar. If you've neglected yourself, begin again with gentleness. Don't carry your guilt like a rock. use it as a reminder to walk softer. 3. Generate merit through loving action. In Buddhism, merit is the positive force that purifies karma. You generate merit not just by praying, but by helping without expecting anything back, speaking with honesty and kindness, forgiving those who never apologized, feeding someone hungry, sharing wisdom, meditating with the intention to relieve suffering for all beings. Every action of love, every gesture of compassion, is like pouring clear water into muddy water. Eventually, the whole pot becomes clean. And now, perhaps the most powerful technique of all, the power of acceptance. Sometimes the karma is strong. You've done your best. You've tried to change, and still suffering lingers. This is when the heart must surrender, not in defeat, but in trust. Trust that even heavy karma has an end. Trust that your awareness is working, even if the result is invisible for now. The Buddha taught, just as a salt crystal in a small cup of water makes it undrinkable, but in a vast lake, has no effect, so too, great merit can neutralize great karma. So expand your heart, make your life the lake, keep adding love, service, presence, and slowly, the salt dissolves. Let's pause here for a moment. Let this truth echo. You are not your past. You are the awareness transforming it. You are not the bad karma. You are the clear sky beneath the storm. You are the one planting better seeds today, so keep going. Each breath taken in mindfulness, each word spoken in kindness, each time you forgive, you tilt your destiny. That's not spiritual theory, that's the path, and that is how karma bows to wisdom. Have you ever looked back at the most painful moment of your life, and realized, that was the moment I truly changed? Maybe it was a heartbreak that taught you self-worth, a loss that opened your heart, a mistake that forced you to wake up. Suffering, as cruel as it feels in the moment, often hides a strange and sacred gift. It can break you open, so something new can be born. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha said, from a heap of rubbish in the roadside, a lotus flower may bloom. That is karma, too, but it's also grace. And here's the truth, not all misfortune is punishment. Sometimes, it's preparation. Sometimes life isn't against you, it's remaking you. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young woman in Korea, born into extreme poverty. Her father was an alcoholic. Her mother was always sick. She felt cursed, invisible, hopeless. At age 16, she ran away. She worked brutal hours in restaurants. Often, she went hungry. Once, she collapsed from exhaustion on the street. A kind stranger brought her to a small temple. She stayed for a few days to recover, and during those days, she began to listen to the monks' chants. She heard one line that she never forgot: in suffering, the seed of awakening is planted. She stayed. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into years. Today, she is a Buddhist nun. She teaches meditation to abused women. She smiles often, not because she forgets her pain, but because she turned it into light. Suffering did not destroy her, it refined her. So what if the hardships you face are not signs that you are cursed, but calls to awaken? What if your misfortunes are not punishments, but portals? Because let's be honest, growth rarely comes during ease. Comfort rarely brings clarity. It's the fire that shapes the sword. It's the storm that roots the tree deeper. The Buddha himself left his royal palace not out of joy, but because he saw sickness, aging, and death. It was suffering that gave birth to enlightenment. In Buddhism, this is called dukkha, as a noble truth. Not something to avoid, but something to understand, because when you understand your pain deeply, it loses its power to control you. When you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is life trying to teach me? A new path opens. You become the student, not the victim. Let's pause for a moment here. Reflect. What was the hardest thing you've ever been through? How did it change you? What strength did it uncover in you? What illusion did it break? Here's a deeper layer of Buddhist wisdom. Sometimes, suffering ripens karma faster. When life gives you concentrated pain, it could be burning through lifetimes of karma, so you can be free. It's like taking bitter medicine, painful, but healing. If you meet that pain with wisdom, compassion, and stillness, you walk through fire and come out gold. There's an old Zen saying, the obstacle is not in the way, the obstacle is the way. And so, maybe your heartbreak is here to teach you true love, maybe your loneliness is the gateway to spiritual connection, maybe your failures are a training ground for humility, maybe your karma is simply a teacher, wearing tough clothes. So what do we do, when misfortune knocks on the door? We breathe, we bow, we listen, and we ask, what gift is hidden here? What illusion is life trying to burn away? What strength is being summoned? Because when we stop running from pain, and start turning toward it, with the light of awareness, something magical happens. The pain becomes wisdom, the wound becomes a doorway, the karma becomes freedom. Let me leave you with this: sometimes life doesn't give you what you want, because it's giving you what your soul needs to awaken. So next time misfortune finds you, pause, don't panic, instead, whisper to yourself, this too is part of my path. I will meet this with presence. And I will rise, wiser, softer, deeper. So now we return to the question, why do some people seem to suffer more than others? Is it punishment? Is it karma? Is it fate? Or could it be that life gives each of us exactly the experience we need to wake up, not as cruelty, but as a calling, not as condemnation, but as a path to liberation? We began this journey asking, why do misfortunes follow some people like a shadow? And now, maybe the real question is, how can we transform that shadow into light? Let's not fear karma, let's understand it, let's live in such a way that every thought, word, and action plants the seed of compassion, not more suffering, because karma is not a curse, it's a mirror. A teacher, and when you meet it with awareness, it becomes a liberator. The Buddha never promised a life without pain, but he showed us a way through it. When the mind is pure, joy follows like a shadow that never leaves. So how do we purify the mind? By seeing clearly, by responding with kindness, by not clinging to pleasure or pushing away pain, by cultivating presence every single day. Here's what you can do now: as you walk forward, pause more often, don't rush past discomfort, breathe with it. There's always a message in the pain. Speak with awareness, every word you say carries karma. Make your speech gentle, honest, and healing. Act from compassion. Let your daily life be an offering, not a transaction, not a performance, just an offering. Forgive yourself and others. No one escapes mistakes, but everyone can grow from them. Be grateful, even for the misfortunes, especially for them. You are not powerless. Even if the karma of the past is strong, you can choose now how to meet it, and that changes everything. Imagine this. You're standing on a road. Behind you, decades of habits, mistakes, pain, and patterns, but ahead, an open path, a chance to walk with new eyes, a chance to begin again, not perfectly, but consciously. Here's what freedom looks like in Buddhism: not escaping life, not controlling everything, but meeting each moment with deep understanding and a heart at peace. That is the highest karma you can create. Let me leave you with one final image. Picture a lotus flower. It doesn't grow in crystal water, it rises from the muddiest ponds, because it is in the darkness that the roots dig deep, it is in the pressure that the petals strengthen. You, too, can rise from your mud. You, too, can bloom from your pain. You, too, can create karma that lifts others, simply by choosing presence, kindness, and courage. So the next time you ask, why is this happening to me? Try asking, what can I do with this, so it becomes a cause for compassion, not continuation. That's how we honor the mystery of karma, that's how we live lightly, that's how we live deeply, that's how we walk the path of the awakened. Thank you for walking this journey with me. If this message touched you, remember to breathe, to smile, to plant good seeds, and to share this light with someone else. Let your life be the teaching, let your presence be the blessing, let your karma be your gift to the world. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications for more Buddhist wisdom, real-life insights, and heart-opening stories. This is Zen Buddhism wisdom. Until next time, live deeply, walk gently, and love fully.